Let's unbox the Hot Wheels Starships Select Imperial Shuttle prototype version. Varykino. If it's Star Wars, we collect it. Hello there, thanks for visiting Varykino. Our Star Wars toy hunting trip over the weekend was really successful. We found the new wave of Hot Wheels Starship Select Star Wars vehicles and we picked up 3 of them. The original trilogy AT-ST, the New Republic E-Wing fighter, and this fantastic prototype version of the Imperial Shuttle. I have to say it's a little bit bittersweet because despite hunting high and low, we never found the original version of the Imperial Shuttle in this fantastic scale. We really do want to add it, but I have to say we've kind of been dragging our feet tracking it down from the international reseller market because we're still holding out hope that Mattel will reissue it alongside some of the other recent reissued vehicles like the Darth Vader TIE Advanced and the A-Wing, which were also released in this particular wave. Fingers crossed this very popular ship will be reissued for fans like us that weren't able to get the original version, but for now I have this really fun and vibrant colored prototype version. So I don't have the original one on hand to compare it to, but I'm really excited to get this one out of the box and check out the details nonetheless. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Coming up really soon, I'll get this prototype ship out of the packaging so we can check out all of the cool details. But first, let's take one last look at the unique packaging. I really like the packaging style that Mattel uses across the line for the Hot Wheels Starship Select range. It's been consistent for the main line ever since that first wave, but the prototype ship packaging has a little bit of variance compared to the standard line. So I just want to grab a standard box just to do a little bit of a quick comparison here. So of course the ship inside is very vibrant. This one I've already opened, so it's not pictured there, but of course we can see the bright colors of the ship inside, but we also have bright colors on the packaging as well. Taking a quick look, let's start at the top. So we can see that the faction logo is red on the standard ones, blue on the prototype, and the blueprint style artwork is also white on blue as opposed to white on black here. On the cardboard hanger, the numbers are red on the standard line, they are orange on this one here, and looking down at the front of the boxes here, we have a green nameplate here for the prototype Imperial Shuttle. We can see the original ones are just plain grey. The Hot Wheels logo is against black and it just reads Starships Select. For the prototype ones, we have that blue color behind. We can also see it says prototype ships there underneath Starships Select there. So of course, we can see the ships are clearly the prototype ones, but the rest of the packaging, it does a very good job of highlighting that as well. We also have a little bit of a difference here on the back. We have black borders around the preview windows. The borders here are orange and the top hanger black here, green on the prototype one. Mattel have done a very good job of bringing in all of those vibrant colors of the ships to the packaging style as well, but it is still the same formatting, the same shape. So even if you are keeping them all in their boxes, they line up very nicely for your display. But let's go through all of the actual details here. I love the big wide window here at the front. We can see the Imperial Shuttle pointing up towards the upper right here. So we can see it is packaged with the wings up. We've got that window wrapping around on both sides there, but no window there at the top. But I really like the printed details here anyway. And there's generally a fairly good amount of light coming through this window. We don't have any sort of cutouts or stickers obscuring the view there. Moving on to the back, now we can see while the Imperial Shuttle is packaged with its wings up, we can move them. You can see it here on the included display stand, and we have the wings down in flight mode. I can't wait to check that one out. We can see the included display stand is white. We can see on the main line that is black. That is a fun difference for the prototype ship line. And of course, as usual, we have a ball-shaped attachment point, which lets us rotate the ships around. Really fantastic if you like to add just a little bit of interest there with some different angles to your posed ships. We can see here we have some of the other ships from this particular wave. We have a couple of reissues here. The Darth Vader's TIE Advanced and the A-Wing fighter were previously released. Fantastic if you missed out or couldn't find them during their original release. The re-release gives you a second chance at grabbing those. And we have the new ones, AT-ST and the New Republic E-Wing fighter. I've opened these ones up. I'll have those videos linked down below if you want to check those ones out. Of course, the rest of the packaging is barcode, copyright, all of that kind of stuff. Legal requirements because these are sold in the toy department, even though I consider them to be more of a collectible than a toy. But of course, that is my perspective as an adult collector. This one here is number 08 in the line. So the original version of the Imperial Shuttle is also number 8, but we have an orange number here. I really do hope that someday they will re-release the original version. I am missing it from my collection, and I really don't want to have to track it down on the expensive secondary market only for Mattel to reissue it in the main line weeks or days later. So I'm still holding out hope, and then I guess I'm just going to have to go grab it, because now I've got the prototype one and I really wish that I could see them side by side. But this one's going to look really fun. We can see that back preview. We've got some really fun, interesting colors for all of the different components. So let's open this one up. So now I have the Imperial Shuttle out of the packaging, as well as the box containing the display stand, but I just want to quickly show the cardboard insert that was in behind the Imperial Shuttle. Now, we usually have this really cool blueprint style artwork of the ships from the wave, but in the mainline standard figures, it is white art on a black background. Again, the prototype line has vibrant colors, so we have blue artwork of the ships against a black background, which is really fun. We can see some of the ships from the assortment. We've got the AT-ST, the E-Wing, Darth Vader's TIE Advance, the Imperial Shuttle, and the A-Wing. Fantastic to cut out and keep if you want to discard the rest of your packaging. It's really fun. But of course, I'm super excited to finally get my hands on the Imperial Shuttle. And like I always say, these are die-cast metal. It's really fun to finally hold them in your hands. They feel different to just the weight of the box. And so I'm being a little bit careful because these wings do move. And I have to say, this one here is just a little bit more loose. It kind of wants to swing around a little bit. This one is a little bit more set. When I move it, it's going to stay where I leave it. This one kind of wants to swing open a little bit, but that's not too much of an issue because these ships don't have landing gear. I'm not going to have it in its landed position, but I just want to quickly go over some of the details before I move the wings, because this is how it was packaged. So of course, we've got some really fun colors here. Each section is in a different color. Sometimes on some of the other prototype ships, there's a little bit of symmetry, and I do have one other prototype ship for a bit of comparison later on, but for this one we can see that the wings and all of the components are each a different color. We have almost a neon yellow here for the main body. The top fin here is blue. We have sort of this tealish green here for one wing, orange here for the other wing, and then on the underside we have a very hot pink here on the other side. So looking at the underside, we can see that we've got sort of a peachy orange here. So something that I wasn't sure about when I got this was, because I don't own the original one, a lot of times for the Hot Wheels Starship Select line, anything that moves is often plastic. But I was curious, this is such a large component, is it going to be metal or is it going to be plastic? And now that I have it out of the packaging, I can see this is fully metal. So because generally we need just a little bit of help with metal on metal, we have plastic used here in the sort of hinge mechanism here. So that is what the sort of peachy orange sections here are. Those are plastic components just to sort of help hinge those wing pieces there. But these pieces here, this is all metal. We can see some of the metal work in the attachment points, and we can see those rivets holding everything together. So of course, because one of these wings wants to sort of flip around a little bit, and I don't want it to hit this middle one, because of course I really don't want to chip my brand new metal Star Wars toy, I'm going to move the wings down into flight mode, because this is how it's going to be sitting on the display stand. And of course, there is a natural stopping point here. We can see that that is nice and even between those two wings, and it takes up so much more space because these are big wings. So you can see this is going to take up, I think, because it's not actually bulky, but just the wingspan is going to take up so much space in my Hot Wheels Starship Select display, a lot more than some of the other smaller ships like an A-Wing, for example. This is just fantastic. So let's go over some of the sculpting details, and then we'll talk about the paint, because of course this is a prototype version. It's not supposed to be realistic, so we don't have weathering and painted highlighted details, but I really want to look at the sculpting. So of course on these panels we've got all of these fantastic sculpted lines. I love the detail surface sculpting on the Hot Wheels ships. They are just fantastic here. We can can see all of those lines. Really nice. A little bit easier to see on the lighter color here, the dark blue. It's kind of absorbing a little bit of light. Hopefully you can see that there. And of course that vibrant yellow just looks really cool. I love the distinction between all of these panels. And then we have the orange wing over here, a little bit lighter, so you can see the detail there as well. Really cool. You can kind of see the thick sort of paint here on these little pointed sections here at the front. I'm kind of curious that they actually went with metal for these parts. Sometimes if they sort of protrude for safety reasons, they are plastic, but this is actually fully metal. These parts here, they're not too pointed. They must be blunt enough to sort of just get away with that still being metal there. And then of course we've got this really vibrant pink here on the underside with a lot of surface texture. No surface is just flat on the Hot Wheels Starships Select line. The underside, even the underside of feet on some of the walkers, the Imperial walkers, they have sculpting everywhere. Just fantastic. They don't skip anywhere. We've got just a tiny little Lucasfilm mark here and the Hot Wheels logo sort of swished there on the underside. We can see the rivets where the metal parts are attached, and we have a little circular cutout here. This is where we're going to attach it to the display stand very shortly. So really cool. Looking here at the back, we've got little metal parts that are exposed here. We've got sort of a metal pin that we can see here going through the hinge. That means that the wings are going to move up and down. So we don't have any engine sort of highlighting here on the back. Of course, prototypes are not supposed to show painted details. They're just sort of a first run of sort of test for the sculpting and the movement and all those sort of pieces. Made famous by a lot of the Hasbro action figures. We do actually have one or two of those sort of Hasbro production prototype figures with their bright colors, not the ones that Hasbro officially released, ones that are actually from production. We're quite nostalgic about those ones. We got them very many years ago. So I am quite fond of any kind of collectible that does reference production prototypes with these vibrant colors. I know they're not for everyone, and if you are collecting the line, you don't really need to collect these prototype versions. They are very vibrant. Perhaps you don't like them sitting alongside your mainline vehicles, but because I do own a production Hasbro figure, I'm quite nostalgic about these vibrant colors. It's really fun to see, and I like that they did every piece in a different color. It's really quite vibrant. For me personally, being my favorite colors, I like this wing better than the orange, but I know that my husband is a big fan of orange. We're probably going to have some discussions about which way round we'd like to display this later. And I really love this vibrant blue. It's almost got like almost a velvety blue appearance. Of course, it's metal, but I just love that color. Really nice. So of course, we don't have painted details to really go through, but I do just like the overall just consistency of the paint here. It's just, it feels like, you know, thick, proper paint like you get on die-cast vehicles, but none of it feels like it really sort of softens the paintwork there. We still get all of these fantastic lines. Everything shows through. Really nice. The one part where it looks a little bit thick is on here, but I think that's because the actual underwork metal is not sculpted to be fine and pointed for safety reasons. Fantastic. You can see all the sculpting here under the cockpit there. Really cool. Of course, on the regular one, we would have a gloss black to simulate the cockpit window. That is just sculpted here with no accent paints, and of course we don't have any sort of engine colors here in the back, and of course no weathering either. So just fantastic. I really do wish I had the original one to compare it to, because now that I've got this one in my hand, I can only imagine just how awesome that one is. Crossing my fingers really hard that Mattel will release it in a future wave so I can get another shot, because honestly, after this long, I'm probably going to buy multiples and just have them in different display areas around my house. So of course, I want to get this on its display stand. I want to see just the full effect of everything all together. So I'm going to carefully close up the wings, being very careful because I don't want to knock those ones together. Just going to pop it down there, and let's open up the box containing the display stand. So like other elements of the packaging in the mainline standard figures, this is a black box with a really subtle sort of blue print on it. This is blue. Again, another strong color here. So let's open this up. You can see we've got two pieces inside that we're going to assemble. And like the other prototype ships, we have another difference here. The pieces are white. The stands for the main line are black, and I like that we've got sort of a difference here. So they do stand apart from the main line. So let's open this one up. Of course, we've got tissue paper to protect the print here, and we've got a dark metallic silver here. So for the main ones, they're black, and they have sort of a classic brilliant silver metallic print here. And of course, we've got the name. It reads Imperial Shuttle there. Really cool. And of course, we've got the logos stamped sort of recessed here on the front edge, the Star Wars logo and the Hot Wheels flame logo there. I love the way these assemble. They're always so satisfying. With a nice click there. They're nice and sturdy. These don't pull out just by accident. Nice and secure, because of course we've got a fairly hefty metal vehicle to put on top. We want this to be very secure so nothing comes apart. We can see that ball-shaped attachment point there. And of course on the underside of the ship we have that little socket there. So I'm going to just sort of hold this one here because I need to press. It doesn't snap on. It just takes a little bit of gentle pressure, a little bit of a wiggle, and it slowly kind of goes on nice and secure. You can see just how deep that goes in there, and once it's on, just a little bit of a demonstration, it holds on. So you never have to fear about picking these up and moving them around and having them sort of accidentally come off and then, you know, being at risk of dropping or falling something. So let's fold these wings down now that we have it on the stand. Wow, this thing takes up a lot of space. This is really big, but I like that this feels now really balanced. And of course, something I love about this line are the flight stands. Star Wars ships do generally look quite different while in flight. I know TIE fighters are the exception there, but when I think about things like X-Wing fighters, they look very different sort of folded out in flight, and none is a better example of that than the Imperial Shuttle. We've got these huge wings that open all the way out. They look very different in their landed position, and of course the Hot Wheels Starship Select line don't have landing gear, so you generally do want to display them in flight. I think that makes them really fun. I love the curved shape of the support piece here. That sort of movement, it looks like it's flying forward, you know, like lines in a comic book kind of flying forward there. And of course that ball shape attachment point means that we can rotate this one around. So we have got wide wings, so we might... Oh, I can actually spin it all the way around. I thought those wings might come into contact with the stand. Some ships, of course, the shape of them, we do just knock into the stand, so you'd have to sort of tip it and move it around, but I can actually spin it around. But of course, it does look just so cool from the front. And even if I want to tip it all the way down, it's very sturdy. This is not tipping over there. It feels very sort of front heavy, but it's really sturdy. Just the design of these stands is fantastic. And of course, we've got that faction logo and the name of the ship. Not that many fans need to know that this is an Imperial Shuttle, but it's just a little bit of an extra touch there, which is just fantastic. This looks so cool. Oh, I love the colors. And something about the white, I think, reads better with the vibrant colors than black. Just really cool. Just makes it look so different compared to the standard ships. I love these colors. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that I have another prototype ship for a little bit of a side-by-side comparison. So far there are 3. I am missing the prototype AT-AT. I have not been able to find that one here in New Zealand yet, but I do have the Jedi Interceptor. So this one is one of the examples where it is asymmetrical in its coloring. Of course, we have green body, blue cockpit, we have a little plastic astromech head here and plastic wings, because for some of the ships, they just use full plastic pieces that move. Of course, the Jedi Interceptor have sort of these movable sort of wing flaps here, but we can see that both are white on either side. So we have a bit of symmetry here. And of course, we've got that sort of magenta sort of pink there on the underside, and we also have the white with that sort of dark metallic printing here on the base as well. But you can see they look really fun together, and I kind of like the fact that this is asymmetrical because we've got huge big chunks of color. I like it being different on either side there, that orange and that sort of teal green. Really fun. You can see the differences in the greens with these two side by side. This is so big. Sometimes I think it's kind of interesting that these are the same price point. You know, this one just feels like so much more metal, so much more ship, and it's the same price as this one over here. I can't complain. You know, I love the fact that we get just a huge array of Star Wars ships because the Hot Wheels Starship Select line are not in scale to each other. So we get Star Destroyers next to tiny little Jedi starfighters, and it's just really fun. Oh, this looks so cool. I really need to track down that vibrantly colored prototype version of the AT-AT. I love my original AT-AT, but I want the colorful one just to kind of make a trio here of prototype ships. And I do hope that Mattel continue to make this alongside the line. I know that some fans may prefer they stick with the battle damaged variant ones that are in the line, and I like those too, but this is just fun for fans of sort of the ones that like to sort of look back at the history of Star Wars toys and how they came to be. Just a little bit of a nod to that sort of part, the very important part of toy production. This is just so fun. Really fun colors. So for now, I have this one as a stand-in for the original Lambda-class shuttle. This looks really cool, vibrant colors, but of course I'm still holding out that I can have the standard one at some point, but really happy to find this one after I could not find the prototype AT-AT. I was getting a little bit worried there that we might skip over this wave, so you can imagine my excitement when I did find this newest wave during our toy hunting trip this past weekend. Really exciting when you finally find something that you've been hunting for a while at your local toy store. You don't have to order it online and pay for extra shipping. For us here in New Zealand, ordering online generally means international shipping and taxes and sometimes even duty. It really does add up to an expensive purchase, so really happy to have these ones locally, and they look really cool. I'm just so excited that these are metal wings. I wasn't sure because this one has plastic wings. I thought that's a lot of the ship to use plastic for. I'm just really happy to see that that is full metal with just that small little plastic piece there just to help in that join there. Really cool. What a vibrant, colorful Star Wars ship. Super cool. I feel like I need to get some of my carded prototype Hasbro action figures, you know, where they did the runs with the action figures all in the different component colors. I think it'd be really fun to make a little bit of a dedicated prototype display there. So fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I opened up another Star Wars collectible, checked out all of the details, did a little bit of comparison, and had a lot of fun. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the galaxy, and let's hang out again very soon for more Star Wars fun. May the Force be with you. If you're a Hot Wheels Starships Select fan, I recently unboxed the AT-ST vehicle. That video is linked here in case you haven't already seen it, as well as a whole Hot Wheels Starships Select unboxing playlist. This is the way.